So you have finally decided to buy a new gaming PC or upgrade your existing one. Yet you are probably thinking about which SSD to buy for your gaming and workstation needs. Look no further because the new WD Black SN850X Gen 4 NVMe SSD is the obvious choice for those who want great gaming and performance and load times, especially if you are playing games on higher resolutions such as QHD 2K and UHD 4K. Let's take a quick look at the SSD itself. It comes in paper box packaging with all the relevant information written on it and what capacity is the SSD of. Here in our case, it's the 1 TB capacity Gen 4 NVMe SSD and the advertised sequential read speed is up to 7300 megabytes per second, sequential write speed of 6300 megabytes per second and 800,000 IOPS. We also get a small booklet that contains warranty information. On physical inspection, the SSD is black in color, which is something obvious because it is called WD Black. Apart from that, this is a single-sided NVMe M.2 SSD, which is pretty much compatible with many supported devices. Talking more about the SSD, it contains WD's own proprietary NAND controller and it has DRAM cache. It has 112-layer BICS5 TLC flash memory, which is pretty much up to date. Basically, it's up to date in terms of NAND flash technology. And this one has an endurance of 600 TBW. In case if you didn't know what TBW means, it means total bytes written. The SSD we have is without heatsink, and since this is the PCIe Gen 4 SSD, it will run hot at full load. So it's best to either buy the heatsink version or use the heatsink provided with the motherboard for it. So why should you buy this SSD? Let's compare this SSD with the lesser priced SN550 Gen 3 SSD and actually check if it makes sense to upgrade to the SN850X based on your needs. For comparison, we will run a few tests. Our test bench includes the Intel 12 Gen 12700 CPU, cooled by the Deepcool AK400 air cooler with Kingston Fury Beast 32GB DDR4 RAM, MSI Z690 motherboard, and the NVIDIA RTX 3070. The first thing that comes to mind is the crystal disk mark, which shows read and write data for both the SN850X and the SN570. Please note that both SSDs are of the same 1TB capacity. Here are the results.
As you can see here, the sequential read speed is 6964.32 and the sequential write speed is 6393.10. It's pretty much close to the advertised speed. However, if you see, the random 4K write is about 1003.01 read and write is 800.80, which is pretty okay because large data sets, its pass-through is just fine. And if you look at the WD Blue SN570, you see the sequential read as 3545.87 and the write 3221.01. That is also close to the advertised speeds. And the for random 4K is 660 read and 531 write. So here is the main major difference that you get between the two SSDs is the read and the write speed. As for 3D Mark storage benchmarks, the overall score that we see with the SN850X is 3876, while the average score that we are seeing is 659.10 MB per second. Loading of Battlefield, Call of Duty Ops, Overwatch, as you can see on the screen, it's on the average of 1203 and 1022 for Battlefield 5 and Black Ops, and Overwatch loads at around 521.30. And if you see the scores of record game and install game and save game, is pretty much hovering around 260, 340, 261, 342, 287, and moving of the game is 3267.51 Mbps per second. And you can see the average access time scores on the right hand side of the table. While you take a look at the 3D Mark storage benchmark for the SN570, your score is 2188, and the average is around 379.28 Mbps in bandwidth. The loading times around 791 and 690. Load Overwatch is 342, and record game is 170. Install is 225. Save game is 180, and move game is 868.29. So pretty much the advantage over here of the SN850 is that it is able to transfer large files and load games better because of the larger bandwidth that it has. It's pretty much simple as that. Alright, now when we are looking at the PC Mark X benchmark scores for both the WD Black SN850X and the WD Blue SN570. In the essentials test, the score of the WD Black is 10,725, while the Blue is 9,359. That's not much of a difference, but the difference is pretty much there. In productivity tasks, both of them are similar. Same as digital content creation, it's almost similar. In photo editing, there is a difference over here as well, so probably you might have a little bit more better luck with the WD SN850 with using a higher or more complex image editing process, while rendering and visualization is pretty much the same, and even video editing, it's very neck to neck. So if we consider both the SSDs as well as considering PC Mark X tests for normal productivity tasks, not much difference between the two.
There is also a special feature in the WD Black SSD, and that is called the Game Mode 2.0. This feature, when enabled, allows for predictive loading for games and controls the thermal management on the SSD. Basically, it means that your most played games will start to load faster and the temperatures on the SSD will be more in control while you are playing that game, which then means a better gaming experience. This SSD also supports Microsoft Direct Storage technology that even further improves data communication between the SSD and the GPU. How does this work? Well, direct storage is a low-level API that eliminates the need for time-consuming decompression via the CPU. Compressed graphics data is transferred directly from the SSD via RAM to the graphics card. Decompression happens in the VRAM of the GPU in this way, saving time for processing and transferring game data. As for the price for both, the WD Black cost around 9,500 versus the SN570 at 5,550 online, while offline stores prices may vary. The price difference is justified because of the performance difference between the two. In the end, there is only one conclusion. If you are going to game on 2K and above and also play popular AAA titles and want better loading and response times, the WD Black is an obvious choice over the older Gen4 SN570. That's it for now. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something today about WD Black versus the WD Blue. And if you like this video, please share, subscribe, and follow us for more content like this. Until next time, see you then.